Yes, he had better be washed. Sadao agreed. If he will fetch hot water, I will wash him. So, children, earlier in the previous part, you have seen that they were both concerned about the fact that the man was very dirty. He was looking very dirty and dusty. कि वो बिल्कुल एकदम धूल कीचड़ में सना हुआ लग रहा था. समुद्र में से तैर करके आया था, उसके बाद बालू पर गिर पड़ा था, तो डेफिनेटली he would have been very muddy. So here what they are discussing about, they just want to give him a bath so that he might be cleaned, and more particularly since the operation is to be performed, it is necessary that the body of the subject that is to be operated should be cleaned. कि जिसका ऑपरेशन होना है उसको क्लीन भी होना चाहिए. तो इसी वजह से वो ये सोच रहे हैं कि अगर इसको नहला दिया जाए तो ये अच्छी बात होगी. So what Dr. Sadao says, if you will fetch hot water, I will wash him. That Dr. Sadao himself is ready to perform the ablutions. He is himself ready that he is going to perform the ablutions on that man. कि वो उस व्यक्ति को साफ करने की जिम्मेदारी खुद अपने ऊपर लेने के लिए तैयार हैं. I cannot bear for you to touch him, she said. But there is another point to it, that Hana is not ready that Dr. Sadao should be doing it, because Dr. Sadao is really a man of reputation. He is really a great doctor, and moreover, the man who was just lying there as subject for operation was from an enemy state. So, from any stage of imagination, it was not appropriate for Hana that she was going to allow Dr. Sadao to do this kind of a thing. And that is why she opined, that is why she suggested that this kind of a thing should be done by some of the servants, that the process of ablutions should be performed by some of the servants, कि उसको नहलाने धुलाने का काम जो है वो कोई सर्वेंट करे, ना कि डॉक्टर सदाओ, क्योंकि डॉक्टर सदाओ एक जाने माने अच्छे खासे इतने ऊंचे हैसियत के डॉक्टर हैं, उनको ये सब काम शोभा नहीं देता. We shall have to tell the servants he is here. So in this way, ultimately, it was necessary that they were going to inform the servants that a prisoner of war was there. He is here means a prisoner of war was there. Now it was binding. It was now compulsory. It was mandatory that the person should be washed, and that is why the servants are to be informed. I will tell Yumi now. She can leave the children for a few minutes and she can wash him. So here Hana suggests that she would like to call Yumi, and by the time Yumi can just leave the children unattended and she may perform the ablutions on this person. So Yumi was the name of a maid servant. घर की एक नौकरानी थी जो एक आया की तरीके से थी, जो एक जो है गवर्नेंस की तरीके से थी, जो डॉक्टर सदाओ के बच्चों को देखती थी. तो उसको ये काम सौंपा जाना था कि हाँ वो आकर के और इस प्रिजनर ऑफ वॉर को नहला धुला करके उसको साफ कर दे. तो इसके लिए उन्होंने सोचा दैट दे आर गोइंग टू कॉल यूमी. तो ये बात आपने समझ ली होगी बच्चों. Now consider a moment. Let it be so. So initially, Dr. Sadao might have been hesitant about calling Yumi, but then he agreed upon the suggestion that was given by Hana. He considered a moment, means he thought for a while whether it should be appropriate or not, whether it would be fine or not. But then he ultimately agreed upon what Hana had said. कि थोड़ा सा तो उनके दिमाग में ये बात आई कि क्या यूमी को बुलाना चाहिए, लेकिन फिर उन्होंने सोचा कि चलो ठीक है बुला लेते हैं. Because the servants were trustworthy, they had been there in the family for a long time, so means apparently there wasn't any risk associated with it. However, definitely there was a little bit of fear in the heart of Dr. Sadao. You will tell Yumi and I will tell the others. So Dr. Sadao advised Hana that she should be taking Yumi into confidence. She should be coming forward to take Yumi in confidence, and he is going to talk to other servants, and somehow he will try to convince the servants that their intention is not malified, that their intention is not malicious. They are just doing something for the sake of duty, and then ultimately the things are going to be resolved. Ultimately, the situation is going to be resolved, and they would be able to handle the matter properly. कि इस बात के लिए कि उनका इंटेंशन बुरा नहीं है, उनका इंटेंशन मेलाफाइड नहीं है, उनके सोच में कोई बुराई नहीं है, वो एक ड्यूटी को निभाने जा रहे हैं और इसमें उनको सबका कोऑपरेशन चाहिए. तो इस बात के लिए डॉक्टर सदाओ ने कहा कि तुम यूमी को कॉन्फिडेंस में लो और मैं बाकी सर्वेंट से बात करता हूं. ये बात डॉक्टर सदाओ ने बोली यहाँ पे. But the utter pallor of the man's unconscious face moved him first to stoop and feel his pulse. So what you have been told here, children, that there was an utter pallor. Pallor means fadedness, that there was prevailing a kind of fadedness upon the face of the patient, there was prevailing a kind of fadedness upon the face of that stranger, कि एक तरीके की सफेदी छाई हुई थी उस जो पीओडब्ल्यू जो प्रिजनर ऑफ वॉर था उसके चेहरे पर. तो जस्ट ऑन अकाउंट ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर रीजन डॉक्टर सुदाव हैड टू स्टूप, ही हैड टू बेंड डाउन, डॉक्टर सुदाव हैड टू बेंड डाउन एंड ही हैड टू फील द पल्स ऑफ दैट पेशेंट, ही हैड टू फील द पल्स ऑफ दैट प्रिजनर ऑफ वॉर, कि उन्हें उसकी नब्ज देखनी पड़ी कि जिंदा भी तो है कि मर गया और बेमतलब के लिए इतनी नौटंकी फैलाई जाए और फिर ये बचे ही ना. So that is what you have been told here. But the utter means complete. There was a complete pallor on the unconscious face of the man. There was a complete pallor on the unconscious. Unconscious means sleeping, on the sleeping face of the man. And that is why Dr. Sadao just stooped and he felt the pulse of that soldier. It was faint, but it was there. So when he felt the pulse, he realized that the pulse was faint. It was फेंट बट इट वॉज देयर, कि हाँ पल्स जो है वो धीमी तो थी, नब्ज धीमी तो थी, मगर थी, फिर भी उसकी नब्ज काम कर रही थी. ही पुट हिज हैंड अगेंस्ट द मैन्स कोल्ड ब्रेस्ट, सो ही ऑल्सो पुट हिज हैंड अपॉन द चेस्ट ऑफ द पर्सन, ही ऑल्सो पुट हिज हैंड अपॉन द चेस्ट ऑफ द पर्सन टू फील हिज हार्ट बीट, and then ultimately he decided what he has to do next. The heart too was yet alive. So in this way he came to the conclusion that the man is still not dead, that the man is still not means द सिचुएशन ऑफ द मैन इज स्टिल नॉट आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल, कि वो आदमी अभी भी जिंदा है और उसकी सिचुएशन कंट्रोल से बाहर नहीं है. उन्होंने उसकी नब्ज देखी, उन्होंने उसके सीने पर हाथ रखा और इस तरीके से रियलाइज किया कि अभी भी इसके अंदर जान बाकी है. He will die unless he is operated on. So, seeing to the condition of that patient, Dr. Sadav had come to the conclusion that if the person is not operated on, definitely he is going to die. Seeing to the condition of that stranger, seeing to the condition of that prisoner of war, he had been able to reach to this conclusion कि अगर इसका ऑपरेशन नहीं किया जाएगा तो इसका मरना निश्चित है. ऐसा सदाव ने कहा सोचते हुए. The question is whether he will not die anyway. So that was the question, whether he will not die anyway. Means still his survival was a bit doubtful. Still they were not sure whether he is going to survive or not. Hannah cried out in fear. Don't try to save him. So Hannah was really quite fearful on account of the presence of that prisoner of war in the house, because she was just worried about the reputation of Dr. Sadav and the safety of the children. कि इन चीजों को लेकर के हाना काफी परेशान थी कि अगर वो लोग पकड़े गए तो क्या होगा. तो इसी वजह से हाना कोई रिस्क नहीं लेना चाहती थी, एंड दैट इज वाई शी क्राइड आउट इन फियर. वो डर के मारे चिल्ला पड़ी और उसने क्या बोला, डोंट ट्राई टू सेव हिम. व्हाट इफ ही शुड लिव, व्हाट इफ ही शुड डाई, सदाव रिप्लाइड. सो जस्ट ऑन अकाउंट ऑफ द फियर हाना सेड व्हाट इफ ही शुड लिव, कि क्या होगा अगर ये बच जाएगा. तो डॉक्टर सदाव ने इस पे क्या बोला, व्हाट इफ ही शुड डाई, कि क्या होगा अगर ये मर जाएगा, कि इसको मार करके भी हम क्या पा जाएंगे. सो इन दिस वे चिल्ड्रन यू कैन रियली appreciate the considerate nature of Dr. Sadav, that in spite of the fact that he was going to put himself into danger, he was ready to save the life of that person. Risking his own safety, he was ready to save the life of the person. And what he was thinking is, what if he should die, कि अगर ये मर ही जाएगा तो क्या होगा, अगर ये मर ही जाएगा तो एक बेचारा आदमी मर जाएगा तो हमें क्या मिल जाएगा. He stood gazing down on the motionless man. So continuously Dr. Sadav had been gazing down on the motionless man. The man must have extraordinary vitality or he would have been dead by now. So Dr. Sadav couldn't refrain himself from commenting. Dr. Sadav couldn't help himself from commenting that this person must have got an extraordinary vitality. Vitality means life or energy. That this prisoner of war must have got that extra bit of energy, otherwise he would have been dead by now. कि इसके अंदर जरूर एक बहुत जबरदस्त तरीके वाला जीवट है, इसके अंदर एक जरूर बहुत जबरदस्त तरीके वाला संघर्ष का नेचर है कि जिसकी वजह से ये अब तक सरवाइव कर गया, वरना कोई और होता तो वो मर जाता. दिस मैन मस्ट हैव एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी वाइटैलिटी. सो दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ द टर्म एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी वाइटैलिटी, दैट ही हैज गॉट एन एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी लाइफ और करेज, that he is still struggling with death. Otherwise, if there would have been a normal man, definitely he would have died by this time. But then he was very young, perhaps not yet 25. So seeing to the appearance of that person, they realized that the person must not have been beyond 25, कि अभी ये बड़ी मुश्किल से, अभी ये बमुश्किल 25 साल का होगा, इससे ज़्यादा की अभी इसकी उम्र नहीं होगी. ये बात उन्होंने गेस की. तो इस तरीके से आपने देखा यहाँ पे. You mean die from operation? Hannah asked. Yes, Sadao said. So, to some extent, Hannah was really not able to believe over the fact that the patient is going to die when Dr. Sadao operates on him. कि हाना के लिए ये बात विश्वास करना बहुत ही मुश्किल वाली बात थी कि क्या सदाओ के भी ऑपरेशन करने के बाद कोई मर सकता है। तो वही बात हाना ने यहाँ पे कही कि यू मीन डाई फ्रॉम द ऑपरेशन, व्हाट डू यू वांट टू से दैट even after you have operated the person is going to die? Yes, Sadao said. So Sadao was not that kind of a doctor who was going to be in overconfidence. He said, why not? Definitely it is possible, because he wanted to say that he is not a god, that he can save the life of a person or he can kill anybody. Everything is just destined, and whatever is written in the destiny is going to happen. So Dr. Sadao is just doing whatever he can do. तो उन्होंने कहा कि हाँ बिल्कुल क्यों नहीं मर सकता है. Hannah considered this doubtfully. So that is what I told you previously, that Hannah considered this doubtfully. Hannah had really got that kind of a great confidence over the skills of Dr. Sadao that she was not ready to believe the fact that a patient can die after he has been operated on by Dr. Sadao. कि उसको इतना भरोसा था डॉक्टर सदाओ के ऊपर कि उसे लगता था कि ये तो कभी हो ही नहीं सकता है कि डॉक्टर सदाओ ऑपरेशन करें और पेशेंट मर जाए. And when she did not answer, Sadao turned away. At any rate, something must be done with him. So Dr. Sadao just wanted to draw Hannah's attention upon the point that something has to be done, otherwise it would be too late. कि कुछ तो हमें करना पड़ेगा इसकी जान बचाने के लिए, वरना फिर बहुत देर हो जाएगी. तो कुछ अब शुरू करते हैं. And first he must be washed. So that was the first step, that the person must be cleaned, that the person must be disinfected, that the person must be washed. He went quickly out of the room and Hannah came behind him. So Dr. Sadao walked out of the room and Hannah also followed him. She did not wish to be left alone with the white man. So it was really that kind of a terrifying situation. The man was lying wounded with a bullet shot and he was also an enemy. So in that kind of a situation, Hannah did not want to be left alone in the room, even with the unconscious body of that soldier. कि वो उस बेहोश आदमी के साथ भी उस कमरे में अकेले नहीं रहना चाहती थी, क्योंकि जनरली लेडीज़ फियरफुल हो जाती हैं इस तरीके की सिचुएशंस पे. तो वही चीज़ यहाँ पे बताई जा रही है कि हाना वाज नॉट रेडी टू बी लेफ्ट अलोन विद दैट पर्सन इन द रूम, विद दैट वाइट मैन इन द रूम, कि वो उसके साथ वहाँ पे छूटना नहीं चाहती थी. तो वो भी पीछे पीछे भाग गई डॉक्टर सदाओ के. She turned to the nursery and called Yumi. So, in this way, as per the instruction of Dr. Sadao, she just went out in order to take the help of Yumi so that the prisoner of war must be washed and so that the proceedings of the operation could be initiated. कि डॉक्टर सदाओ के इंस्ट्रक्शंस के मुताबिक वो बाहर गई और यूमी को उसने पुकारना शुरू किया कि ताकि यूमी आ जाए और उस पर्सन को वॉश किया जाए ताकि आगे की कार्रवाई शुरू की जा सके, ऑपरेशन की आगे की कार्रवाई शुरू की जा सके. But the children heard her voice and she had to go in for a moment and smile at them and play with the baby boy, now nearly 3 months old. But then in the meantime, as you know that Yumi was the attendant to the children, कि Yumi जो है वो बच्चों की attendant थी. तो when Yumi had been called, the children just happened to hear the voice of their mother, कि बच्चों ने अपनी माँ की आवाज़ सुन ली. अब आप तो जानते ही हैं कि बच्चे अगर खास करके छोटे बच्चे अगर वो माँ की आवाज़ को सुन लें तो तुरंत उनको माँ के पास में जाना होता है. तो just as Hannah called out Yumi, the children heard her voice and then she had to go in for a moment and smile at the baby boy. So then Hannah had to go in for a moment and she had to smile at the baby boy and play with him, because he was just 3 months old. So at the voice of Hannah, when the children had started crying, what you have been told here children, that Hannah had to go in. She had to go in. उसको अंदर जाना पड़ा थोड़ी देर के लिए and she had to smile at them. उसे बच्चों को देख करके ऐसे मुस्कुराना पड़ा. And then she had also to play with the baby boy who was just 3 months old. So that was just a way to cajole the children. That was just a way to lull the children, कि बच्चों को दुलराने का ये एक तरीका था. Oh, the baby's soft black hair, she motioned with her mouth. Yumi, come with me. So now what you have been told here children, that while she lulled the baby, कि जब वो बच्चों को खिला रही थी, तो what she did, she must have kissed the forehead of the baby. Over the baby's soft black hair, she motioned with her mouth. She motioned with her mouth means she might have kissed the baby on the forehead. And then in the Meantime, she also called Yumi that she should come forward and she should help Dr. Sadao. I will put the baby to bed, Yumi replied. He is ready. So Yumi said that she would like to put the baby in bed, कि वो बच्चों को बेड पे लिटा करके और बस आ ही रही है. He is ready to lie down. को बच्चा लेटने के लिए तैयार है तो उसे लिटा करके वो आ रही है बस तुरंत. She went with Yumi into the bedroom next to the nursery and stood with the boy in her arms while Yumi spread the sleeping quilts on the floor and laid the baby between them. So what you have been told here, children, that she went with Yumi into the bedroom next to the nursery. So ultimately, Yumi had been taken to that particular room where the prisoner was. And in the meantime, Hana was standing just beside Yumi holding the baby as Yumi was just spreading the bed. Yumi was just spreading the mattress so that the baby could be laid down. कि there is a lot of disturbance around. तो वो बच्चे को अपने हाथ में लेकर के खड़ी हुई थी जिस टाइम में यूमी बिस्तर बिछा रही थी कि जिसमें उस बच्चे को लिटाया जाना था. Hana led the way quickly and softly through the kitchen. So what you have been told here, children, that Hana was moving ahead of Yumi and she led the way to the kitchen. हाना जो है वो आगे आगे चल रही थी और उसके पीछे पीछे यूमी. एंड इन दिस वे दे रीच द किचन. किचन क्यों? क्योंकि वहीं से गर्म पानी लेना था. द टू सर्वेंट्स वर फ्राइटेंड एट व्हाट देयर मास्टर हैड जस्ट टोल्ड देम. So now Dr. Sadao had also informed the servant about what he was going to do, and now the servants were really frightened at what had been disclosed to them. कि वो servants भी बहुत डरे हुए थे जो डॉक्टर सदाओ ने उनको बताया उस बात पे. The old gardener, who was also a house servant, pulled a few hairs on his upper lip. So just on account of the irritation that was caused by this news, कि ये जो न्यूज़ मिली प्रिजनर ऑफ वॉर को घर में रखने की, इसकी वजह से जो सर्वेंट्स में इरिटेशन था, तो उसके रिएक्शन के परिणाम स्वरूप वो जो घर में जो गार्डनर था जो कि एक हाउस सर्वेंट भी था, तो व्हाट यू हैव बीन टोल्ड हियर दैट द गार्डनर वाज आल्सो अ हाउस सर्वेंट, ही हैड स्टार्टेड पुलिंग अ फ्यू हेयर on his upper lip. So hair on upper lip means it is a reference to the mustaches. He had started just pulling out his mustaches कि वो गुस्से के मारे अपने ही मूंछ उखाड़ने लगा, इतना वो गुस्सा हो गया इस बात को जान करके. The master ought not to heal the wound of this white man, he said bluntly to Hana. So very bluntly means quite irrespectfully. He told Hana that the master must not try to heal the wound of this person. कि कम से कम मास्टर को इसकी तो रक्षा नहीं करनी चाहिए. The master must not try to heal. The master must not try to fill the wounds of this person. कि ये इस इंसान की तो मदद नहीं ही करनी चाहिए. He said bluntly to Hana, the white man ought to die. And definitely that white man should be allowed to die. Definitely this white man must be allowed to die. इसको मर जाने देना चाहिए. First he was shot. कि पहले तो इसे गोली लगी. Then the sea caught him. And then the sea tried to engulf him and wounded him with her rocks. So in this way, nothing that is there in Japan, whether it is the sea or whether it is anything else, whatever is there in Japan, does not want that this person should survive. कि पहले तो देखिए कि उसको गोली लगी, गोली ने उसके ऊपर हमला किया, उसके बाद फिर सी ने उसको अपने रॉक से वुंड कर दिया. अब जिसके लिए पूरा जापान गुस्से में है उसको डॉक्टर सदाओ बचाना क्यों चाहते हैं? तो ये उसका एक जेन्युइन क्वेश्चन ही था, कोई बात उसकी गलत नहीं थी. So that is what he has been saying here, that first he was shot and then the sea caught him and wounded him with her rocks. If the master heals what the gun did and what the sea did, they will take revenge on us. So that servant was really quite superstitious. He was thinking that if the master is trying to revolt what the gun did and what the sea did, definitely they are going to take revenge on us. कि अगर मास्टर ने उस असर को खत्म करने की कोशिश की जो कि गन ने किया और जो कि समुद्र ने किया, तो ये एलिमेंट्स हमसे बदला लेंगे. तो ये बात यहाँ पे आपको कही जा रही है कि मतलब ओवरऑल आप ये समझ सकते थे कि सर्वेंट्स का रिएक्शन पूरी तरीके से नॉन सपोर्टिव और नेगेटिव था उस प्रिजनर ऑफ वॉर की मौजूदगी को लेकर के.